This podcast is brought to you by Wise, the app for international people using money around the globe. With Wise, you can send, spend, and receive up to 40 currencies and save up to 55% compared to major banks. Plus, Wise won't add hidden fees to your transfer. So whether you're buying souvenirs with pesos in Puerto Vallarta or spending euros to tip your Coliseum tour guide, you know you're getting a fair exchange rate with no extra markups. Join the 15 million customers who choose Wise. Download the Wise app today or visit wise.com/US/compare to learn more. T's and C's apply. Today on CityCast Austin, this city is home to lots of people who legally sell and consume hemp products. But all year long, that legal part has been up for review. And now finally, we have some new laws. So I'm talking to two local experts to sift through what Austinites can and can't purchase, sell, and consume. It's Monday, September 22nd. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hello, I am here today with Jay Graham-Ciso and Heather Fazio. Jay is the co-founder and CEO of Mary J, an Austin cannabis dispensary, and Heather is the director of the Texas Cannabis Policy Center. What's up, Heather? What is up, Jay? Hi.
So glad to be here. Hello.
Hello.
So Austin has been like ground zero in the fight over hemp regulation in Texas, from lawmakers meeting here at the Capitol to the concentration of stores involved in hemp sales here. And I keep seeing more pop up every day. I feel like there's one on every corner now. So off top, let's talk about what Austinites can and cannot buy right now in town. So what can we have and what can't we have?
Well, as of September 1st, we're not allowed to have any kind of vape or the cannabis vape. So that is definitely a big part of our business. So that we're definitely seeing impact there. As far as everything else, edibles, flour, drinks, we're good at the moment. We're still in limbo, waiting to see. Heather, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's exactly right. It's been a roller coaster all year long, trying to work at the Capitol with advocates from across the political spectrum against the prohibition effort from Dan Patrick. And luckily, he failed in the legislature, and Governor Abbott took action to fill the gaps in our regulatory infrastructure. But it does leave us as in limbo, as Jay was saying. We know that disposable vapes are currently, as of September 1st, off the market. They're not illegal to possess, but they're illegal to sell, which certainly doesn't make sense and pushes our Texas business owners like Jay right out of the market. And that is not the best approach. And so we'll be revisiting that in the future. But at the moment, it's really only disposable vapes that have been affected. Everything else that has been legal since 2019 remains legal.
So you say disposable vapes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. There are also vapes that you can just refill the cartridge every time. Are those considered disposable vapes?
Those are not considered disposable vapes.
Yeah.
So it would be a vape device sold, and separately are the cannabinoids, the products that get filled into the device. That is technically legal as long as they are sold separately. It is definitely a way that the community continues to walk the line on the letter of the law and exactly what they put into those bills. And this is a way that gets consumers the products that they enjoy. We don't like to have these workarounds. We'd prefer for products just to be safe and legal, and for them to be able to be purchased by neighborhood businesses where there's accountability and transparency. That's really where we're going to have the safest products available.
Now, I kind of want to go into this a little more. I want to talk about what Austinites are buying, because, Jay, when you first started, there was nobody else. There was you and Planet K.
Girl,
I remember specifically there was no one else, right?
Yeah, or glass stores, or
glass stores. So when you came in, to me personally, I was like, oh, this is what I've been waiting for. A boutique, a store that I can come in and feel taken care of and not be ignored for 45 minutes just trying to get what I want. Now here we are, and it's completely different. I'm not kidding. I look up and I'm like, oh, look at that. Another little dispensary. It seems like these stores, these things are popping up everywhere. And so what is it like to operate your store right now? Because didn't DSHS come to your shop?
They made an example of us. They definitely came to the shop, spent the whole day, had lunch, dissected the whole store, and the only thing they took, which we had already pulled off the floor, was expired bath bombs, but they weren't destroyed yet or thrown away. So we had to actually put water on them in front of him to destroy the bath bomb. So stupid.
As a side note, for those of you that don't know what DSHS is, it's the Texas Department of State Health Services, and they stay in people's business.
Yes. Everything else we were on point with. Like since the beginning, we sold CBD before it was legal. To be honest with you, I had one little IKEA case by the register with brands that I tried to know as much as I could, and then soon took them off the shelf when I found out more and more about the plant and products and what goes into it. But people are, switching over. We're trying to help people switch over to concentrates. That's like a hash or a dab or a wax form, and that's another way to vape. So we have seen our sales increase with concentrates, and then like selling them a battery that goes with it that they can use. But people really loved how easy disposables were. I mean, we sold them like crazy. They were just so fast, easy, discreet. A lot of parents loved them. You can't smell it. So that switching them over to a concentrate or an herbal vape even, is you still have the smell and you still have to mess with it and you get stuff on you and things like that. So, we still sell edibles like crazy. Drinks are amazing. Flour is still great. We really hope that they don't try to take that from us, because that is one that's probably the most popular for us.
Listen, I have been calling the drinks my go-go juice because I keep saying this. They've honestly, this sounds dramatic, but they've changed my life.
You're not dramatic.
Just like being able to just like have something that's not a cocktail, that I can still be social, I can still drink, and it calms my nervous system, and it, you know what I mean? Like, people underestimate that part of it, I think.
They do.
Yeah.
They see drinks are like 5 milligrams. That's nothing. I'll say, yo.
Yeah.
And that's me as a connoisseur and a heavy, like I take on a lot of milligrams, and I'm like, you low and slow. Drinks are a totally different game. They're just like, down it. I'm like, you just wait. Low and slow. Yeah.
Don't make that mistake. I made that mistake. Don't make it. So going back to January, we knew that the lawmakers were going to try to do something about consumable hemp going into the session. After a ban was passed, Governor Greg Abbott actually vetoed it. And then it was litigated in 2 different special sessions. Why couldn't lawmakers agree on this?
Well, I can tell you very clearly and directly that it's because they weren't under the threat of coercion that they were during the regular session. Our Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, rules the Senate as an authoritarian. Nothing passes that chamber without his approval, and anything he wants to pass out of that chamber is a done deal. And sadly, the House of Representatives was pressured by the lieutenant governor. In fact, he went so far as to hold teacher pay hostage, saying that we are not going to pass any more House bills out of the Senate if you don't approve Senate Bill 3. This was talked about very clearly by Representative Drew Darby, who serves on the State Affairs Committee, who helped to overhaul the prohibition bill when it was in the House. Thankfully, Governor Abbott came through with that veto. And in the subsequent special sessions, as you mentioned, there was a stalemate. The House was no longer under threat from the Senate, and they were not going to advance a prohibition bill, especially after hearing from so many of their constituents who do not support prohibition, who would rather we move forward with effective regulation and allowing adults to use these products responsibly.
Yeah. So I want to address the elephant in the room, or the misinformed elephant in the room. The people who want to ban or strongly regulate consumable hemp says that it is dangerous to kids and teens, that stores locate intentionally near schools or target kids, and that THC products are sold in Texas right now are often, and I'm quoting this, grossly mislabeled and dangerous. Now, are these products dangerous to the public?
There are some. I will definitely tell you that. I am a products girl. I'm a retail girl. That's what I've done my whole life. And I research like crazy. Francis and I will break down a brand and figure out the source and everything. And unfortunately, there is a lot of misinformed labeling There's no childproof packaging. I've been in the convenience store right next to my shop getting gas and going in to pay it, and where it's supposed to be a locked case of cannabis products, it's right open for people to steal, especially kids. And there's, it says joints. Marijuana joints is what it said.
Yeah.
No medical ID required. I'm just like, how are these people getting away with it? Like, it's our job at Mary J to educate the consumer and the customer and the patient, just to ask questions. Not just, you see it at the convenience store. Yeah, it's the weekend. Let me grab this. No, you are putting it in your body. I don't trust anybody. I've taken well-known brands off my shelves because they can't provide a COA with the things that I need. And I care about you and I love you and I want to give you the best product ever. And
what's a COA?
It's a certificate of analysis, and that tells you exactly everything in the product. Toxins, myotoxins, solvents, what actually is in there. Is there CBD? Is there Delta 8? Is it converted? Is it natural? Like, there are so many things to look for that people are uneducated on. And so that's what we try to do at our shop. And so, like, we even tell them, if you don't purchase from us, please just ask these 3 questions just for your health, because it's still so unregulated. So I do agree that there needs to be regulation. But it is scary. There is a lot of products. Some of the things that I've seen in the convenience store, it's like 3,000, 5,000 milligrams I saw.
Yeah.
Stop it. A brand new person that has never tried cannabis, and on the back suggest a half to 1. And it's like, that's crazy. Like I said, a high dose, milligram girl. And that's even scary for me.
There are these tiny little drinks. They're the size of airport bottles, and they have 100 milligrams in them.
Yeah.
Heather, how do you feel about regulation?
Yeah, well, Mary J really, that as a company and you as a founder, really exemplify the integrity in the industry, making sure that you are paying attention to what products you're putting on your shelves, caring about your consumers. And I think that the majority of the industry cares like you do. But there are people that are flying under the regulatory radar because there's been an utter lack of enforcement of the rules and regulations that are already on the books. We certainly can start filling the gaps with age restrictions like we've all been talking about, advertising and marketing restrictions so we don't have things like Stony the Tiger appealing to kids, then child-resistant packaging. These are the types of common sense regulations that really should have been put in a long time ago and that we've all been advocating for. We certainly don't think that outside of medicinal use, minors should be accessing these products. They simply shouldn't be, and especially in the high doses that we see so many companies selling. There is this concern that we have for minors, and we share that with even those that are on the other side of this issue who they think the solution is shutting it all down. We know that shutting it down is going to do nothing to actually keep these products from minors. Instead, institute an age restriction and make sure that if a company is going to sell to a minor, they are going to lose their license. And there's going to be effective enforcement of those regulations. And that's the key piece here that we're really going to start to see coming into play over the next year or so as DSHS steps up more to the plate and TABC now steps into the fold for enforcement.
Wow, it feels really good to hear both of you kind of on the same track as far as like, yes, we need regulation.
Yes.
But people should have the right to make that choice if they are adults. Speaking of which, based on a recent McLaughlin and Associates poll, nearly 80% of Texans polled support keeping consumable hemp legal. So I'm curious, we all know how I feel about it. What were y'all hearing while lawmakers were meeting and working on this legislation and making these threats? What were you hearing from Austinites?
Yeah, from the retail side, confusion, scared, confusion, not knowing, should I stock up? Is it going to all be taken away? What's the next steps? And literally we're with them day by day. And thank you, Heather, for your emails and up to dates on everything that you do, because I register for everything. Like, we're on that daily. But I feel like there's just confusion and people are scared. They've had this medicine for so long, and now you want to pull it all away. And people don't want to go back to pills and alcohol.
Right.
Period. They're living a beautiful life now, and you want to take that away from them. Yeah. So they're scared.
And at the Capitol, a lot of confusion as well. Lawmakers finally in 2025 sitting down at the table and saying, help me understand this. What is a cannabinoid? What is the difference between THC and CBD? They're really trying to wrap their heads around it, especially in the House of Representatives. And it's been so refreshing this year to have a seat at the table with people who have open minds and open ears to really understand what it is that they're creating laws about. And that, I think, is why we saw the stalemate in that first and second special session, because representatives were actually hearing from their constituents and listening, and also taking in all this information like, whoa, we need to slow this down and really be able to understand it. And we saw outstanding committee hearings with real questions, seeking to understand, real curiosity. This was a big step this year in lawmakers taking real responsibility for cannabis policy and trying to make sure that they're making the right decisions.
Hey y'all, it's Nikki. There's still time to see the JAWS exhibit at the LBJ Presidential Library, but you need to do it now. In case you've forgotten, before he wrote JAWS, Peter Benchley was President Johnson's speechwriter, and this exhibit is about the journey of Benchley from White House speechwriter to best-selling novelist to devoted conservationist. It explores the shared environmental legacy of the Johnsons and Benchley, the cultural tidal wave sparked by JAWS, and how the story that terrified moviegoers also reshaped our understanding of sharks. Plus, this year is the 50th anniversary of JAWS' release, and it's the perfect way to end your summer. So see it before it leaves on October 19th. Don't miss this fascinating look at the story behind the shark that changed everything. Head on over to lbjlibrary.org for more info.
Learning a new language opens the door to new friends, new cultures, maybe even a whole new life. So why not start that journey today? I'm CityCast CEO David Plotz, and I'm learning Spanish with Babbel. Babbel's conversation-based technique quickly teaches you useful words and phrases about the things you actually talk about in the real world. I've been practicing my Spanish with Babbel's AI conversation partner. I can choose my conversation topic and have a real-time dialogue. It's great at helping me think on my feet, and it's improving my pronunciation. Also, it's really easy to do anytime on my phone using Babbel's excellent mobile app. It's just one of the many fantastic Babbel tools for learning. Plus, Babbel has a real-time feedback, progress trackers, and handy visualizations, all of which make it really easy to stay motivated to learn. I want you to learn another language. So CityCast is teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/citycast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/citycast. Spelled BABBEL.com/citycast. Babbel.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
There are lots of versions, I guess I should say. And I think people get a little confused. And I know that a couple of people have asked me, like, what's the difference? You can have a THC beverage, and the THC beverage market is booming. But lawmakers have decided that drinks are okay, vapes are not. And Jay, we had you on a little over a year ago, and you did a great job of like breaking this down. But that has been a year.
Yeah, and a lot has changed.
And a lot has changed, and now we've added drinks into the mix. And so I'm curious, like, why one and not the other? What is the difference? You got CBG, CBD, Delta 9, Delta 8. Like, what are the differences? Why does one matter and one doesn't?
There's a big movement against vaping across the country, and it isn't just cannabis vaping. We just saw the Attorney General and the Department of Justice with a press conference about cracking down on vaping. And so this is a broader campaign that really has very little to do with cannabis and more to do with vaping in general. And I do think that there's room for research, room for better understanding how vaping is actually affecting our lungs. We know that kind of objectively, the consensus is that it's safer than smoking something, but still people are puffing on these vapes nonstop all day, every day. And that's a big concern because we just don't know what the long-term effects are going to be. But I don't think that prohibition is the solution. Education is the solution, helping adults to make responsible decisions and holding people accountable who put them into the hands of kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally agreed on that one. And then the difference, I mean, there's so many cannabinoids in this plant, and we have got literally kind of in the wild, wild west. And so people are dissecting this plant and making, CBD into Delta 8 and doing this and that. And for me, there's not a lot, like Heather was saying, longevity in research for that. I haven't taken Delta 8, for a long time. Like I didn't know about that 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. So I don't know the longevity of that. I know THC, what I've been using for a long time and that. But to address the vape as well, I agree. Like, I don't think there's a longevity research, like the popcorn lung that we hear. I know personally, I used to vape like crazy and I can't now. I will die. Like, I cannot, I don't cough. It's not pleasurable. It does not do anything for my pain. It is miserable. It hurts my throat. So I don't know. I want people to make a healthy decision for themselves, but people, there's a cannabinoid for each person, and the way they choose to use it and medicate is their own. But I don't feel like there's a lot of longevity in research for a lot of those things. So I like to stick to the old school. Yeah.
Well, and so maybe if I could back up just a little bit on that, about, you mentioned very briefly the conversion between CBD to Delta 8 THC. And this is a big deal. This is something that hasn't been done in mass the way that it is now. And Delta 8 may exist in very small amounts naturally in the plant, but we're consuming a whole lot more of it. So we need to make sure we're thinking about consuming products that maybe we haven't in the past, and what does it mean to consume so much of it. I think that converted cannabinoids can be made safely, but we do need to make sure that we're careful. And let me also say that the only reason Delta 8 ever made it to the market is because our government's insistence on prohibition of naturally occurring Delta 9 THC, which is the only one that they actually restricted. It just doesn't make sense, and it's given a rise to this whole other industry, which could be done safely, seems to be okay, but does leave room for us to make sure that we're being very cautious about the products that we consume.
So, okay, I want to make sure I understand this. Delta 9 is naturally occurring?
Yes.
Oh.
So people freak out. They come in, I don't want that Delta 9 stuff. I'm like, oh God, here we go. We got to educate again. Break it on down. Okay. So when you go into your Colorado store, what you're buying is Delta 9, right? And you're actually buying THCA too. And when you hit that with fire or you bake it, it converts over to THC, right? And so a lot of people are just like, wait, what? It's all Delta 9? I'm like, yes. We in Texas have to legally use legal terms to sell things and to educate people. In legal states, it's just what it is, right? Now, Delta 8 is naturally occurring in the plant, very minimal. Now that is converted over and can, so we can argue there. But the Delta 9, that's whether it's in New Mexico, Vegas, Colorado, or Texas, it's all Delta 9.
It's part of the plant.
CBD, it's all Delta 9. It's all, and just educating those people. I think they get misinformed. Oh, that Delta 9 stuff is dangerous. I'm like, no, it's not.
And so the milligram dosage, it has to be below 0.3 milligrams. Is that right? In order for it to be legal? Percent. I'm sorry. Correct. 0.3%. So that means there has to be less than 0.3% THC in whatever is sold, correct? Okay. But that has nothing to do with like a 5 milligram drink. Right?
Because they're talking about volume. So same
they're
thing
talking
with
about
gummy.
volume
How are you getting a
versus
20 milligram gummy? Well, the gummy's going to be bigger.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that was totally just for my benefit.
No, I love it. People ask this all the time.
Well, and also let's clarify that the 0.3% THC only applies to Delta 9 THC. All other cannabinoids, including the different isomers or variations of THC, there is no limit on them. And that's why you see a 5,000 milligrams product, because it's Delta 8 and there is no government imposed restriction on that molecule. And that's why they figured out to convert CBD, which is abundant and hemp derived, no question about that. In a lab, you can convert that to Delta 8, which is not as restricted as Delta 9. So that's why this has really come to the point that we're at today. But there are natural products that really are not controversial. And flower being on the chopping block for lawmakers just doesn't make sense. It's the least processed directly from the earth, and what the majority of consumers actually enjoy.
I guess I just didn't understand the difference between all of the things and how it all comes from the same plant and how you can just take a little piece of it. So it just sounds like people are taking something that's not being regulated and not being honed in on and just processing it to make other things, essentially.
And they were put into that corner because of the unreasonable restriction on Delta 9.
And we have no idea how it's going to shake out in the long run because it's being processed and converted.
Yeah. And let's make sure we're fair. There are regulations on these converted products, just like everything else. You know, they are testing for residual solvents, which is the biggest concern in converted cannabinoid products is, you know, it's a chemical conversion process. And if you don't get all those chemicals out of the product, it could have very negative effects for the consumer. And so we want to make sure that products are being tested for that. And currently they are. It's in the regulations, and everything that's on the shelf is supposed to be tested to that degree. Not everyone has as high integrity as Jay does. And there are convenience stores putting on their shelves anything they can find in the warehouse without the due diligence and without DSHS stepping up to the plate in the way that they should have been for the last 6 years. We just don't know exactly what products are safe and which ones we can count on.
Unless it's the flower that comes from the earth. Just give us our weed, damn it. I don't understand.
Plant that seed and let it come up naturally. Yes. And you know what's crazy? Bringing it back to dishes. When we had our day with dishes, let's just call it that, we were asking him what other stores, like, how do you know what stores to go to? And he's like, if they have a license. I was like, so the convenience store next door that's selling that 5,000 milligram gummy, I wouldn't even know to go there. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
What?
I pay all these fees. I do everything correctly by the book as it should be for the consumer. But this person on both sides of me, convenience stores, won't ever get hit by dishes and has a free-for-all cabinet that kids can just go in and get. And it's heartbreaking.
It's the bureaucracy for me. It sounds like a little too much like ICE. Like it's like people showing up and they're doing what they're supposed to do and they're getting punished for it in anyway. Like this can't be an efficient use of time.
Yeah. But of course, there needs to be enforcement on the people that are selling it at those gas stations. That, in your example, that because they're not even registered with DSHS, so they should be not just an administrative punishment. That is a actual crime to not have a registration and be selling these products.
Agreed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It really is like the Wild West. What do you think is next?
Well, while I'm grateful to see us, moving forward with effective regulation, hopefully that's what we end up seeing. We're still, now that the governor's issued an executive order, the next step is for the department, DSHS, Department of State Health Services, and TABC, the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Association or Commission, to establish rules. And so that rulemaking process is a public process that we will be definitely participating in once they publish their draft rules. And then we'll see more enforcement happening. And so I'm looking forward to seeing effective oversight so that we can push out bad actors, hold them accountable, and make space for all the good actors that are providing high quality and safe products. But I do have concerns. And so we want to make sure we're keeping a keen eye on these draft proposals, on them not unreasonably restricting products, especially flour. If we make flour, if we render it irrelevant by pushing the THC cap down so low that people won't buy it, then all we're doing is sending this over to the illicit market where there's certainly no product testing standards, no ID requirements, no mechanisms for accountability. So keeping cannabis legal and regulated is in the best interest of public health and safety.
Wow. So overall, Jay, as on the retail side, is the vape ban like severely affecting your business or other shops like yours, or are you just adjusting and,
Yeah. So I have 3 lawyers. We have 3 lawyers. And we don't bullshit. Some people in the industry still selling the disposables, and they're the ones that just, whether they get caught, they get caught. We are looked at pretty heavily, and we know that. And I want to do everything legal. I've been doing it legal since the beginning, and I want to show that you can, and you can get safe medicine legally. And so,
And you're still thriving.
Yeah, no, we're thriving. And yes, disposables was a big part of our business. But again, we were just educating our customers and patients and showing them what a flower vape is, showing them what a concentrate vape is. But what I've learned in this industry in the last 8 years, laws can change super fast. Things can happen. Things can get taken away. So you learn to pivot really fast. And if you don't, you drown. I've been smoking pot my whole life before I should have, honestly. And so I love this plant, and I want people to love this plant just as much as I do. And I want to show them that it is safe, and I want to show them that there is a life without pain. There is a life without anxiety and depression from a natural plant. And so, yes, these bills, they do hurt us, but we overcome and we pivot.
So do you have any kind of words of advice for, I won't speak for everybody, but I'll say for people like me that need it, and understand that it's an important part of healing? What is your advice for people to move through the city now?
Well, I'd hope to instill a sense of personal responsibility in the products that you're consuming, especially while we're still in such an immature industry that's really starting to obviously exploded out the gate, but there's still a lot of room for growth and maturity. And so taking that personal responsibility to understand what products you're consuming, do research before you even go into the shop. Many of these places have their products listed online where you can look at their certificate of analysis, learn more about the cannabinoids that you may be wanting to consume and maybe some that you're trying to avoid. But take that sense of personal responsibility going into this. And also, I'd say, make sure you're shopping at places that feel good going into them, that doesn't feel sketchy, that you feel like some confidence in the people you're interacting with and the products that you're looking at. There's a lot of products on the market, a lot of high quality products, but we do have to make sure that we're careful and start low and go slow. We mentioned that earlier, but I have to really drive that home. Once you take an edible or drink a few drinks, it is in your system. You are on the ride. It's a done deal. And so starting low, try the 5 milligrams, maybe even try 2.5 milligrams first, the first night. See how you feel. The next night, try 5 and try to build that up to see what level feels good for you and where you can operate if you're at home or if you decide to do this socially, making sure that you're accepting the responsibility for how much you consume as well.
What about you?
You're not alone. We're in this together all the way through. So you are never alone. We've got this. We'll figure it out. We'll pivot together, and you're going to get your fucking plant medicine.
Jay, Heather, thank you so much for this. I am so appreciative that you took the time to come on and explain this to us and just talk to us. And actually, I'm feeling hopeful and amped up and ready to fight another day, I guess.
Well, so are we. Yes. And we're actually hosting a policy conference in January at UT, where we're going to be bringing together lawmakers, regulators, industry leaders, policy experts, and anybody who wants to attend to learn more about the landscape in Texas and how we can work together moving forward to have effective and efficient cannabis policies for our state.
Hell
so
yeah.
Good. Yes.
I know. All right, Austinites, for now, we still good. We'll see y'all next time.
Yes. So much love to you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. You can find links to Jay and Heather's websites in our show notes. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, of course, subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. And if you are really, really digging what you hear, help support CityCast Austin by becoming a neighbor today. Go to membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.